Welcome everybody. My name is Rubin. I was invited to host this panel, but also I'm glad that I designed this panel and I had the chance to invite the participants, as well as I'm going to be hosting the next panel right after this. So, first of all, I'm very happy about this initiatives. It's a one-of-a-kind initiative in Albania in the field of music, music production and events. And I think it really comes about at the right time when it comes to be the amount of events that are happening in Albania, the importance that these events are representing for our cultural life, tourism industry, service industry in general. Because of these reasons, I think that it is really important to understand that this did not happen overnight. This has been a part of a process where a lot of people have participated and contributed, where a lot of ideas have been uttered and spoken and brought to reality. And I think that in this domain, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have been one of the people to have been present in this process since a long time, and to see that the main components that kind of brought up to this day, this would have not been possible without the contribution from public institutions, companies, the private sector, which is crucial to the development, the corporate sector, that is crucial to the development of our, let's say, of the music scene and the music business, and of course the promoters. So I'm very happy to have in this panel distinguished personalities from our public life and public institutions, but also corporate and promoters. So first of all, I would like to introduce Mr. Genc Kojdheli. He's from the Municipality of Tirana. I have to get your title right. I'm sorry. I have to check it. Or would you like to say it for yourself? Okay. Genc his director is for the economical development and promotion of the city. And has been his office and the projects that his department has led were crucial, first of all, for the award of Albania Youth Capital in 2021, if I'm not wrong, 2022. And then as recently as of this year, where Albania and Aleksandria were declared Mediterranean cities of culture and dialogue. These were very important initiatives because within them there was a very interesting cultural agenda that was participatory from the private, public sector and the non-profit sector. And I have Miss Anisa Pollo. She is the head of the Directorate for Culture Policy and Development at the now what is called the Ministry of Economy, Innovation and Cultural Innovation. Culture and Innovation. Then I have one of my besties, Herida Duro. Her position here is peculiar because she's worked very closely with development projects in the Ministry of Culture for a long time, and now at the Ministry of Tourism and Environment. Another important contributor, be it as a personality, but also as the business, as the brand that he represents, is Mr. Aleksandar Bibic. He's from Belgrade. He's the marketing director for Primal Distribution, but we've worked mainly with the brand Win Music Freedom that, at least for a decade, if I'm not wrong now, almost a decade, has been one of the, is maybe the main brand that has supported electronic music and DJ culture in Albania. Aleksandar also has a particular position because before working with Albania, he's long worked extensively in Belgrade in the music industry, also from the beverage, connected to the beverage industry. And mainly 20 years in tobacco. Then my very good friend Andi Qafmolla. Andi has also been a big contributor through in the time that he worked for Win Music Freedom. He's a nightlife personality, a DJ, and as of recent, for now 5-6 years now, because it always looks like you say 2018 and you think it's 2 years ago, but no, it's almost 6 years. He's a partner and the focal point in Albania for main stage festivals in UK that are notable for organizing Kala and AnjunaDeep, also other festivals in Albania. So, this was our panel. I'm Rubin. I represent my company that is called Media Tirana. I work in the field of festivals, clubbing, cultural events in general. And so this is pretty much the composition of this panel. I designed this panel with the idea exactly to see these 3 dimensions of musical events now, which is that of promotion of Albania, touristic promotion, which has been a very important theme for our country. See it also from the perspective of local government, because, you know, Tirana being the capital, it is very important, and also central institutions. The level of entertainment, so how these events serve the purpose of entertaining our youth, which is I think a God-given need. And ultimately, culture, how these events put forth agendas to build cultural values, cultural excellency, be it in the organizing, so in terms of skills, organizational skills, and then maybe at the end, artistic exceptionality. So, without further ado, I think this was like enough as an introduction. I would like to start with Herida, actually. Can I help you? Bon, so, you have had, very briefly, you've had a unique position because for now, I think it's 12 years now, you've constantly worked in the field of monitoring projects, approving, and from the Ministry of Culture, and now from the perspective of the Ministry of Tourism. So, first of all, in these 12 years, what has been the major, you think, component of policy towards music festivals? How have they grown? Do you see, so I'm making a question with some components. Do you see musical events that have managed to create sustainability, professionally or economically? And what would you think, what would you change in the current state of affairs, or what could have you done differently throughout this course?
A very long question, but and you have already said everything almost. So, okay, I will try to summarize, of course, what I can say from my perspective, not only as a policymaker, but also as an active artist in the field, because I'm a professional one since I was 5 years old. So I grew up through music, and I'm a lucky people and lucky artist because I have not done only working as an artist, as a professional artist in different orchestras and institutions, but I was able and I had the possibility to make policies and to program also the budgeting process through years and through different stage of doing objectives and policies. And saying that, in the recent years, we have grown a lot, not only through music, but all through every kind of sector who is called creativity or project in a wider way of the activities, because more and more, not only music as itself as a tool, mechanism which it comes very, very directly to the audiences, even for local people, but even internationally. But as a more multi-dimensional, because now activities are always being more and more competitively, but more and more in diversity inside their in the programs. And I'm happy to say that in the recent decades, if we had an opportunity or a passport, international passport, it was only because of our singers or our artists playing everywhere or being part of the best theaters in the world. Now our activities or our brands in music festivals especially are being more recognized outside Albania. And this is a chain right now. We have brands like hotels and accommodation structures, very well known widely, but it's a completely a kind of another situation. We are proud now to not only to host international festival in Albania, which are more and more eager to be to be realized in Albania in different part of regions and even seasonally, because they are not all coming through through Jan or through August or in the months where we are usually well known with having more visitors, but through months and all year round tourism, right now we have these components who are more and more attractive for the tourism. And yes, we have done mistakes, of course, but we have done a lot of improvements regarding the policy alignments, which means that all the stakeholders, municipalities or even private sector, has shown that for one reason, which is the more important, we are all together right now in the last years, because we are trying to make Albanian proudly as a chain. Even in big events, as we have hosted even political events in Albania recently, but the Mediterranean, European capital, and then youth capital.
Okay, it's clear. Do you think, because I think it is good also to focus a bit on a critical, sometimes a lot of people, I want your view on the fact, think that there could be, and maybe that's obviously not always the fault of public institutions, but people organize. They feel that maybe calendars could be managed better, that sometimes that there are periods of the year where are overloaded with events, and then there is other periods that, do you think that maybe sometimes there is more, generally like,
yes,
not
yes.
only the events that you support,
you
because
right.
now you have 3 institutions, everybody with their own agendas, everybody supports their own projects through calls, you know? And do you feel that in this process of alignment, there could be a better job in terms of managing a year-out calendar so
yes.
that could maximize?
Of course. It's not so easy. We can speak about that. We have tried many times to organize or to have a all-year calendar, but it's very, very, very hard, because some of the institutions are opening the open calls a year before. Some of them are doing month by month, like municipality dues, for example. So we don't have a period of time where all the institutions has opened their calls and all the bodies could know or could manage in a proper time the agendas. But of course, a kind of calendar or a system, a body coordination has to be in place for organizing and a better while
and I
steering a
think
little bit
here we get a bit more in the domain of Meki, because
not
I
only
think
because
no.
in our case we have, for example, TEA, which is the application, the tourism events of Albania. It's a tool.
Yes, sure.
Of course, it's providing a lot of information. Maybe it's not in the proper system to manage the months, the days, in order to spread somehow the
No,
information.
but when I say, and I would like a bit, so we can, and then we can go
Yeah.
back to things. I'd like to go to Anisa in terms, when I say to Meki, in terms of, maybe some people might view your department as having a bigger responsibility in what Herida is saying to coordinate the actors, be that,
Yes.
so in the case of the Ministry of Tourism, the focus is mainly promotion and,
Yes.
so first of all this, and second, be that your ministry is very new in the ways that it's configured, or is a recent phenomena in Albanian institutional culture that the Ministry of Culture is joined with that of Economy and Innovation, and you act clearly, so policy making is within your department. You made some adjustments this year for the first time to the calls, to the general calls. And you did this through an extensive a set of talks with the artistic community by collecting also data and input from the community. I would be interested to, to keep the focus in music. How do you feel this impacted the field of events, of music? Did it improve existing initiatives? Did it help create new ones? And within your department of policy, what is the importance that you're giving to music or music industry?
Yes, thank you. I actually just want to extend what Herida told about the application, because I think this is a very good review that we need. A system from outside or someone that can build up and help all our institution to align all the, not only the calendars, but even the venue where they take place, because we know that a lot of them take place in our main cities, but we also want to focus them in villages and in small cities that doesn't happen anything. So we are very open maybe to have a public joint call with other ministries how to solve this. In terms of our policy, yes, we did like 7 public hearings in every category in arts and culture. And in terms of the music, it was very beneficiary, because last year we supported like 70 projects with around 51 million Albanian leks, and this year they were like 85 projects with 95 million leks. So this is like we doubled the budget, but we did not only this, but we supported annual programs. So even this Muse-X, that is part of one of the main projects that won this call, we didn't want to support anymore like a lot of projects with small amounts, that it was like only like 10% or 5% of the whole budget, but we wanted that the support that the ministry could give to them would be very much bigger for them, and in order for them to do something with quality. So this is one of the main reasons, like we had a lot of projects that were very in good quality, like Muse-X and other ones, and they could prove and they could even decide that for the next years their festival would be a brand. So this festival would be known internationally. So this is what I think that it's very good for Albania, because if we know that in Albania there will be organized some 5 or 6 or 10 festivals that are going to be annually there, I think this is the most that we can give to the community. So this is one of the main reasons.
Yeah, this is great. And I think that this was a very necessary at the time, because I remember how the calls used to work, but they were appropriate for the moment in time that when they were being applied. And this was, I think, really the right move at the right time. And I think it's very appreciated. I would like to go to Genc. I mean, the municipality of Albania, of Tirana, it's a big institution because it covers a big geography, a big economy, a lot of stakeholders, and of course, it is the first patent of promotion of Albania. So it goes through the capital city. First of all, we all remember the success of Tirana European capital of youth. It had, I think, most probably the biggest calendar that the city has ever had, with the biggest participation. What do you see that came out out of that year, what would you pick especially? I know you're a big music fan, and I know that this calendar supported a lot of musical events. How do you see that year, especially, and the work that the municipality has done through this time has impacted the industry of music?
Thanks, Rubin. It is a big challenge. Throughout what I'm going to say today, I'm going to use a lot of cliche words because it's very good for breaking the ice. So the first cliche word that I'm going to use is that we are not special. Once we understand that we are not special, we need to work about making ourselves special. There's about 800 cities in Europe, and nothing makes us special out of the blue. So in order to make yourself visible, a city, be that municipality or the government or private companies or promoters, need to punch above their weight in order to make yourself visible. This is the precondition upon which we started working to promote the city with these international titles. First, European Capital of Youth, then European City of Sports, and this year the Mediterranean Capital of Culture and Dialogue. Second, we are a little bit outside the map. You as a promoter have noticed that. Most of the time, Albania or Tirana intervene in an international calendar without being a natural tour date for any global band. This is something very challenging. It doesn't give predictability. So a big issue for us is how to put Tirana on the map periodically. How do you get involved in international calendars? How do you get big events in Tirana or across the country, for that matters, so that you will guarantee seasonality, off-season events, which guarantee full-year visitors, full-year employment, and spillover effect of all supporting industries that support creative industries.
Also, sorry to interrupt, also educate our own public and serve our own public, which is very important.
That goes without saying. That's a natural benefit. So these were the preconditions that we started our work. I am not going to be as enthusiastic as my colleagues because I think we can do much more. Our successes have been outstanding, but there is a lot more we can do when it comes to structuring and capitalizing on the already achieved successes. First of all, venues. A lot must be done in terms of venues. Is one of the problems that the country has. We do a lot of outdoor stuff. Indoor,
Not so much.
there's a lot of shortcomings. I know that there is a big investment coming in Tirana from the Albanian Investment Corporation with a big fair and mega hall for concerts and whatnot. That is going to be a big addition. We have a lot to work on when it comes to infrastructure and transport. Big events mean big crowds, and we have already proven with the match, the final match of Europe Conference League, that we have the capacity to host such big events. And my biggest challenge, personally, as also a music fan, is convincing people that culture cannot be free. Culture has a cost.
Tell us about it and all the people that ask for free tickets.
Culture is a product, and I think it's the main product of the soul consumption. If you want to consume something about your soul, you need to consume culture, and you have to pay for it. If you are paying for transport and food, you might as well pay for music and painting and violin, like Herida.
But is it my question here, because this is always the big theme. Okay.
I want to say this is where we have a big mistake.
Yeah, the public
We
institutions.
support unconditionally, and then we forget the need that we have to edify the general public. Culture has a price, and this price has to come not just by public institutions, but also out of your pocket. in order for us then to be competitive in the region and even continentally. So this is something.
But two things. One thing that I think you really you hit the spot is the problem of the venues, because one thing that we've noticed, we have a big overlapping of calendars, because by using extensively outdoor spaces, then we become very seasonal, and so everything kind of presses itself into small pockets throughout the year. I think we've always had the discussion that at times is the problem of public institutions and public events that are for free, that have kind of created the idea that you owe it to the public. Plus, there's obviously personal cultural issues in that. But what I wanted to ask you is, like, can you, does, for example, your office, or do you think in the future we should work more with the private sector, or public institutions should find a better way to work with private sectors? Also into building strategies, or maybe learning more from the private sector. And B, I forgot B, but A is good enough.
It's good. Your second question brings me to my second cliche word, which is you need to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
And the creative industry sector, including music, needs to start from this basis, from the private sector. Building a big venue for like a music hall or an arena is not going to give you money right away.
No.
For the average Albanian investor, this is a no-no. We like quick profit.
First money, yeah.
But building such arenas or big venues for whatever kind of cultural event, creative industry event, it's going to have a long-lasting effect for the country, but also for your pocket. So you're not going to see your money right away. Sure. And this is our job as public institutions, to convince private investors that not everything must be put to a specific component of the economy. And the effects are long-lasting. I always make this discussion when we have the frenzy in the end of May for Eurovision. We always are hopeful we're going to win. We have a great song.
I think this year we have a good chance. We have a good one this year.
We cannot win Eurovision. We simply cannot, because we cannot host next year.
So they're cheating us, you mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're cheating.
One of the preconditions of Eurovision is that you need a 25,000 people arena, which we don't have. Even if we have the best song and the best budget and the best artist, and the best idea and the best promoter, we simply cannot host it. So this is a challenge for the country that must be solved jointly.
Like, you think we can build it for 1 year if we win this?
It is something that this then, it also creates a spillover effect.
You broke my heart. You just broke my heart. You know, I was so hopeful.
When we consider then some other long-lasting effects of investing in creative industries, I always think about fintech. Another big problem that Albania has right now is that many international promoters don't choose to put us in the calendar because our capacity to sell tickets internationally is limited. This is something that has to be solved at the central level, collaborating with the private sector. So, and my final point, which is also very important, is you also feel, I believe, in your day-to-day work, that we have an issue with keeping people here.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of jobs that creative industries create is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
People who work in this industry, apart from making good money,
yes,
they make good
living
existence,
yeah,
good living. They feel good. So investing in this kind of industry,
it is a quality job sector. That's for sure.
Good quality jobs, but also the capacity to attract talent or keep talent here.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the duty of central government and us as local government to combine efforts and create as many creative jobs, because they happen to be very resilient, very fulfilling financially, but also emotionally. So they have the potential to keep people here or bring them back.
Certainly. Talking about this, and as far as private sector goes, I would like to give the word to Aleksandar. It is very. You've been here now 5 years, 6, 7.
Fully 4 years.
Okay.
My first touch with Albania was in 2008.
2008, but that you've been working constantly here
Constantly, yeah, since 2008.
since 2008. Your brand, the brand that you represent, has it is notorious to push electronic music, not only in Albania but in the Balkans, especially. And you've worked with some of the best DJs, and especially you've pushed the culture before it became. I think we can say that DJ culture has become huge and mainstream maybe the last 6, 7 years, but I think that there was a generation that was doing this, was the generation that helped break the glass ceiling for electronic music, and I feel the brand that you worked with kind of did that, and you've supported a lot of venues and initiatives. So what would be your overall experience working with the scene in Albania, with events? What is it that you take away out of all these years of working as a brand, but also as observing? Because I know you're very observing, and you tend to look, but from the job perspective, to look at aspects of an event that are important for the brand, but also to understand what's going on. So what would be your takeaways from all these years in Albania?
Well, based on 20 years of my experience, I've been working in tobacco industry, and my focus of, and purpose of my job is to develop, a potential for the activation of consumers through mainly music, festivals, events all over Adriatica region, meaning I was responsible for the region from Ljubljana, Slovenia, until Tirana in Albania. And in past 4 years, I'm strictly focused on Albania as a market. Unfortunately, what is, happening as of COVID, it's the lack of opportunity for the markets such as Albania and the Balkan region in terms of potentially bringing the big names, not only electronic music, but overall, rock and roll, hip hop, whatever it is. And we always need to, take care about one important thing. In 1 year time, you have 52 weekends, meaning 104 days, that the whole globe is trying to attract and to bring. And money-wise, it's not that easy. And that's the purpose of, trying to find some kind of strategic partners in terms of business-wise, like, I don't know, beverages, tobacco, whatever it is. And from their perspective, it's always like this, plastic way of observing how many attendance and what is their critical mass, where they can send their message about the brand, about everything else. So it's very tough job for promoters, from the promoter side, how to attract from the whole angle, meaning from the government, from the sponsorship deal, and how to, at the end, make everything like minimum plus, or at least to be on a break even. So this is, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not, always be a kind of a positive in reflecting to the crowd, like a positive way of thinking, but it's very tough, and it's a long process how to make it. One of the crucial things when you are preparing your idea or a platform or a festival thing, whatever it is, it needs to be taken into consideration that on the other side of the table, when you're speaking to a potential strategic partner from the business side of like corporate or private business, is that it needs to have enough time. Why enough time? Especially corporate way of thinking and acting is a bit slow, sometimes like a turtle, meaning they are preparing budget in September, October, November for the next full year, and at least they need to have some kind of idea and timing and approximate calendar where they are going to put their focus and where they are going to invest, and at the end, how they are going, to.
Yes, but I also really want to know from you, having supported so many promoters, clubs, festivals, I really was interested, like, how do you see the environment in Albania, and what would you improve, like, not as a corporate, but you as Aleksandar, like, with what you see?
First is always, the nature that you can, that you can put on a table, like something that you can build your future strategy, not only music, because nowadays everyone can, pay the ticket and go wherever around, especially now in Albania you have that luck that so many, these low-cost companies can bring people. So nowadays, new generations, they want to digest not only music. Comparing to my generation, new generation is, they want to have a full experience. In about 7 days, they want to have the touch points all around, not only, music-wise. They can listen to him, me, Dubfire, whoever, all around the globe. Yeah. They want to have, especially we are speaking mainly about the season, so it's seaside, good food, and I'm speaking about very quality and good food that whoever comes here, and it was my guest, food is one of the things that they cannot find that easy somewhere around, and a lot of, new interesting places, and a bit of the hidden history behind, which is always a part that is really, like a trigger. So this is, you need to make a full scope of different type of the things when you speak about one music event.
Thanks. Now, to go to Andi.
Thank you.
So we start with our favorite issue and problem. Is there is there free tickets? Where can I get some free tickets? I'm at the door. Come and get me at the door. No, I'm kidding. So, first of all, it is interesting from your perspective. You now work with since 6 years now with the experience of Kala and Anjuna. Now, I want your perspective. You know that I'm a bit skeptical and critical of these festivals, not in terms of, they're amazing, beautifully built and stuff. But what we always discuss is this. On one hand is the excellency, it is the contribution to tourism, but what does it leave to local culture? And what can we do more, and this I'm putting it on us, not on, but what can we do more as locals to learn and get that experience, amplify it, but also use it to the benefit of our own, because we're cultural warriors as well, besides being music promoters and entrepreneurs. So we really care about people loving and appreciating good music and understanding good music. So where do you see that we can do more in this frame?
Okay. In our perspective, at least for the last years, I'll take examples of festivals in Croatia. Just I'll compare them. So in most of them international festivals in Croatia, because the company Muse-X Festivals basically operates like a travel agency. It's structured like a travel agency, so we take care from their travel, accommodation. We don't take them to sightsee, we take them to party on the beach. And in terms of what leaves behind, in terms of contribute to the local artist, let's say, because this was the topic, in most of the festivals in Croatia, there are no local artists. It's only the artists that people pay the ticket for, which are recognized internationally. In our festivals, there's at least 10 artists, local artists per festivals, which we try to involve, because Albania, it's outside of the map, but it doesn't mean that we don't have good talents and people who can get the job done. And actually in the first years it was quite challenging, especially from my end, to tell to them guys, hey, we have good artists here, let's see what they can do. And apparently now every time we prepare the lineup, they tell me, okay, Andi, make sure this guy comes back, make sure this guy comes back. So which is pretty interesting. On the other end, at the end of the day, a business should be rentable. So we should at least break even and hopefully make some profit out of the initiatives, out of our efforts. The thing is that we, as Genc mentioned before, we need to learn that art is not for free. It brings it has a lot of hustle, a lot of compromises that the artists do, a lot of compromises that the promoters.
A lot of hidden costs that people don't realize
people
often.
Come there, show up, and they just expect to have fun. And we were speaking about this topic with Daniel not earlier than 5 days ago. So they are keen to come to Dermi, spend maybe 100 euros of fuel and another 100 of accommodation, food, drinks, and whatever. And when it comes to paying 30 euros or 20 for your project, they expect to get it for free and eventually leave afterwards complaining about the color of the t-shirt that the DJ was wearing.
Just to intervene, often that happens because they see on a project the logo of the municipality or the logo of one ministry that of course helps and contributes, and they immediately associate that, this is a sponsored event. And
but that's
because
not
they
how
don't
it
understand
works.
the economy of the event.
That's not how it works, because people think that, okay, 20 euros, okay, won't make you rich. No, it won't make them poor, but 20 euros per 1,000 people, it means relevant money. And the thing is that, it's from the client perspective, from the attendee perspective, everybody's like, yeah, the sound was not okay, so apparently everybody's a connoisseur at a certain point in time of production and sound. And every time I face somebody of the category, it's like, did you pay for the ticket? No, I wasn't. Shut up. So this is where we start, at the starting point. So
how can we change consumer culture in this aspect?
This happened because at least when it comes to not mainstream music, what we have done was like underground music, and it was hard to sell. And in order to make a good event, we'd rather in the past give tickets for free in order to invite people and to make it happen, to create a good vibe. And I think that this now has become a normal, an expectation from the attendee perspective. So they expect to get a free ticket or eventually receive a call, I have 5 friends at the door. Okay, I hope they are in good health.
So I think we should do a campaign with the institutions.
So hopefully next
pay
year,
the ticket more.
this topic should be on the panel. So
yeah,
the ticket thing,
the ticket thing, yeah.
We expect it to get it for free. We expect it to have it for granted, which is not how it works.
Certainly. At the end, I would like to make like a question for everybody, so we wrap this up. Starting from Herida again, so I would pick it up again. Again, what would you think, what would you change again, or what would you like to see happening better from how we're doing things right now? Not only your institution, from the institution, but from Herida perspective.
From my perspective. 2 things I would summarize. A part of all the things you already have mentioned. The first is the label and the substance of our festivals, because we see now a lot of festivals, a lot of activities, music festivals, who are going around the country, but they are somehow similar to each other. We don't see the differences, so we don't see a theme, we don't see a vision, we don't see nothing else beyond just an entertainment or
sometimes
kind
it's the same
showcase.
Lineup, same artists.
We
just
have
go
difficulties.
from place to
Meanwhile,
place.
we are evaluating also the festivals and similar activities. And the second, it would be from the exotic country label. We must go beyond this kind of expression and terminology, because from music or festivals or showcases like more well-organized festivals, we have to see Albania as a cultural new destination, but as an asset, not as just an activity that is going through years or through different channels. So this might be my advice for being more realistic and to work more with the local people, local entities, and to grow somehow ourselves in the perspective of being very specific in the region, because we know that from other models that over the world, they have somehow their differences, and
we
they
have
are
to create a unique identity,
yes,
a more unique
they
identity.
have their own
Brands,
thematic brands and necessary things to be shown and to be valued. But we have another authentically situation. So we have through culinary, through pieces, through historical and cultural adventures, and enjoying all this, it might be a kind of storytelling even in our festivals and in our activities. So let's think.
Thanks, I think it was very valuable. I would like to ask to Anisa, it is certainly challenging now, as I said, the way that your institution is configured and your role in policy making. Hey, do you think you'll be able to raise the budget even more next year? And no, but jokes aside, because I understand that has to be based on performance, but because I know you will be fighting for that. And do you think maybe we should work a bit more in networking and capacity building, and not only just because now that scaling up like Muse-X or other activities, we're trying all to scale up. I think it requires not only more finances but also other levels of skill that maybe we should be more able and start thinking how we build new skills for this kind of scale that we're trying to achieve.
I think that you have two questions that it would have like a long weekend to discuss.
Wrap it up.
Yes, yes. So I think we have to see a green light in this kind of ministry. So for the first question, we hope so. So we already did for this year. But we are working on a sponsorship law together with the Ministry of Sports. So I think if this is finalized, this would be a very great news for everyone in arts and culture, because even the private sector would contribute a lot, and it will be a very big difference in terms of the sponsorship from the government. So we hope very much that this would be one of the main reasons why the budget will be like more. And for the other questions, of course, that being in this kind of ministry, we have also the private sectors, and we have the professional schools, and we know that we have a very lack of managing of arts and culture, and we really hope that we will announce on the second part of the year a very specialized managing program about arts and culture, and we need in terms of managing, so we need a lot of advising about this, and we are inviting everybody to have a say in this, and we will organize public hearing how we can improve more, and who can we network to provide better management of environment, venues, and everything else. So,
perfect. Thank you. I think I got a good answer. So, Genc, what is the next title that we're looking after? That's the first question, if there is any. I think we're already in a good pace for the Mediterranean Year of Culture and Dialogue. And yes, second, what would you, from a personal and institutional perspective, what would have you done differently, or what would you like to see change in the near future with regard to events, the promotion of the city, and
the upcoming title we're applying for is
so there is one.
There is a title called European Capital of Smart and Sustainable Tourism. So I'm going to be knocking at your door. But it's a very challenging title because it's very technical and very requiring in terms of what the European Commission expects from a specific city to get the title. I think we have all the ingredients to do a good job in preparing a dignifying application, but it's quite challenging. What could we do, what could we have done, and what we could do differently is monetizing the investment from local and central government. People need to understand the why. The biggest reason why people would not support investment in culture is that they don't understand the why. And it goes back to what you said before. They don't want to pay a ticket because they already said, the ministry gave money, the municipality gave money, so why would I give money?
I paid my taxes for this event.
So I already paid this through my taxes. But first of all, nobody knows the hidden costs. And second of all, we need to understand the spillover effect of these kind of activities. How much does the economy gain from a big festival? How many people get employed? Seasonally, permanently, or case-by-case scenario. So people need to understand that this investment comes back, gets something to the country in the long run. If we are able to do this, then we get more support. And yeah, the law that is being prepared on sponsorship is going to be a big help. I think what we could do better in the future as also a comparative advantage to what the country has to offer, apart from good food and very hospitable, welcoming people, is the issue of sustainability. Our main target is regional and continental, so European. Europeans care a lot about environment. So we need to tie in whatever sort of musical events, festivals, whatnot, with some sort of a green component, a green certification. So we say, we are doing festivals, but they're also protecting nature. It sounds corny, but it isn't.
No.
At the European level, it makes a lot of difference if you're going in a destination where your carbon footprint is lower, where you're using paper cups and not plastic. These for cups, this is for the average target audience, can be a comparative advantage that Albania can offer. So this green component of our creative industries should be exploited and used.
Thank you. Very good point. Biba, I call you by your by your nickname, Aleksandar. So, how do you see the future of the engagement of corporate, especially like, let's say, beverage, tobacco, foods, this kind of brands that that support music events? Do you see it as something that has reached its top potential? Do you see it declining? Do you see the relationship between corporate and music transforming in some new paradigm, maybe?
In terms of declining, we already touched this point regarding the venues. And again, I'm speaking about the calendar. Local promoters need to understand, again, the typology of the corporate way of thinking. It's not a matter of the, people doesn't want to hear or whatever it is. It's, delegating the way of the decisions, again, going back to the approved budget and everything else. So it needs to have enough time in advance for someone to understand, to decide, and to see where to invest. It's not a matter of, and it's always, I'm going back to your point, or maybe the lady. It's better to find a strategic partner and to try to support him year on year. It's going to be very, tough and challenging, but it will bring the results at the end. So it needs to be, and I see the lack of venues like potential, problem for the future. And you at least need to try to engage more some, public places or something like that with some, regulative in terms of music pollution and everything else. It can be, validated in the future to be like, places where it's going to be useful for, for the whole municipality. So.
Thank you, sir. Andi, to wrap it up,
Yep.
and as the last one, what can promoters do better in terms of planning, designing, the choices, musical choices, the typology of the events, and especially in engaging and in dialogue with the public institutions? Because I feel that more often than not, we are more expecting what institutions are going to do for us without kind of making a leap and trying to create a dialogue or proposing or being proactive ourselves. What do you think that promoters can do more in this aspect?
It's a very complex question.
I know, but easy. Make it easy, please.
No, from the institution perspective, I've seen, at least through the years, that things are improving. So there's more communication between departments, and on a daily basis, that there's also an improvement in terms of understanding because probably we do understand this typology of business, of industry. But many people who've been there for 30 years, to them it's a new thing, to the most of them, especially, I'm not talking about Tirana. Outside of Tirana, it's a big challenge to go into.
I have a name for you.
We both know the names. And so it's improving, and I think it's going to be far better in the next few years. So in the short term, my expectations are good. And from our perspective as promoters, I think we should compromise with the fact that okay, we need to involve more youngsters. So we should give more trust to the, because we are now what, like 40 and more and something. So
40 and counting, yeah.
Yeah, 40 and counting. And it will soon come a time that we won't be
But
40.
we should
and
be
so we should bring new blood with new ideas, with new. So we should give them the trust for them to think that it's their thing, not as.
But I think I would add here more also as an answer to my question. I think that we also should institutionalize more our initiatives, and we are people that we've been organizing parties since when we were 20, but now we are in a position to put forward policy suggestions, to become part of agendas, and maybe as in this event also become a factor in determining the language and the ideas for future consideration.
But I think we as promoters should talk more, but not only Andi and Rubin, but all of us probably meet and catch up with each other, and even the topic you mentioned before, the congestion of the festivals and activities agenda. So there should be more talking in order to not three different parties to go and contact the same artist, which will raise the price artificially, and not everybody going in the same areas or venues, which will even so we should be more in touch with each other, kind of an interest group or kind of a community. And I think we are part of a community, but we should start institutionalizing that thing in order to understand what the other person is doing and what we can do differently in order to avoid clashes that are unnecessary.
Thank you very much. For sure.
I have one more thing to add. Answering to your question a little bit before, what can we do to make people pay more for art and culture and music? I call it the wedding effect. I hate weddings. They are very similar to each other. You've been to maybe, I don't know, 200 weddings in your life. You barely remember 2 of them or 3.
I remember mine. That's all I remember.
But they're like more like a copy-paste version of each other. The same 5-course meal, roasted lamb, the people of the bride
same song
coming around. And not only they're boring, but you also have to pay for them. And you are forced to go and pay and dance and eat the same food, and still you do it. So a great ad would be to put them in a comparative analysis between the fun you have at the concert and the boredom you have at the wedding. And you say, if you're willing to pay for a wedding...
We should do a campaign, that's what I'm saying. We should do a campaign about it.
If you're willing to pay for a wedding...
I think this is going to be amazing to have a campaign, a national campaign, for paying tickets.
Somehow, to summarize everything, is elevating a little bit, standards and quality.
But I think that comes with the economy of it. I think that's important.
We are always saying, even in our tourism sector, tourism cultural sector, more they are attracting through diversity of the offer we can offer to them. More they are paying, more they are staying. So we don't want only numbers. We want more people who are spending more
Yes,
money.
but
So
also that is, and I will wrap it up with this because we have another panel afterwards. It is very important, and I think I would like to leave everybody with this. This is something that we have to do because already our sector is paying very good wages to the people that work for us. But it has become very hustling for the promoter. It is very, because the promoters and the people who organize are taking a lot of risks economically. Because now you have a boom. Like, I remember when we were doing events, circa 2005, 6, we didn't have sound systems. We were renting from Macedonia. We didn't have LED walls. We didn't have the bare minimal equipment to put up an event together. And now we're showcasing, different companies and service providers. And this is good. It means that there's an economy around it. But it's important to be an economy for the entrepreneurs as well. So that we don't get tired of it. And it's also important that I think it's very important for people who've been working long-term in this sector and build trends to also be able to get the fruits of this and not just random investments that then becomes generic, as you were saying. I'd really like to thank you. It was lovely talking to everybody. Thanks to the audience. And I hope